So it is literally 4 a.m. here in Canada, but I have gotten up out of bed to make this video because I have sensed that my Australian family needs me. Hello, I'm Ritu, former Australian cosplay champion and now just a random Canadian cosplayer. In this episode of Just Ritu Things, I will be talking about 4 things that convention organizers can do to make sure they have invited the right cosplay guests for their convention. So I've wanted to talk about this topic for a very long time because I've attended many conventions both as a fan, an attendee, and a cosplay guest myself. And I have seen a good range of cosplay guests, from the very well chosen to the highly inappropriate. And since COVID became a thing and conventions became not a thing, this episode got put in the back burner for the longest time. Until recently, back home in Australia, the COVID situation has improved to the point where conventions are starting to feel a little bit comfortable with coming back, and already we are being shown as a community that some convention organizers are so out of touch with their community that they have invited a cosplay guest that nobody wants to see. For those who don't know what happened in Australia, I don't really feel the need to go into too much detail, and the cosplayer involved is not noteworthy enough to mention by name anyway. In a nutshell, this convention invited a cosplayer as either a guest or a panelist. It's really unclear, but used this cosplayer's image to promote their upcoming event. And this cosplayer has been continually known to show really poor conduct at conventions and really appalling conduct on the internet. And most recently, this cosplayer used their huge platform to share a racist bat meme during the height of the pandemic outbreak in Australia, and nobody found it funny. And to make it worse, they defended that action, saying it's just a joke and the people of color that were hurt by it were not entitled to be hurt because it was a joke. So with that minor detail out of the way, I'm going to actually get onto the video. 4 things for a convention organizer to think about before they invite their cosplay guests or featured talents. So number 1 is their rapport with the community. This is the most important one in my opinion. Are they famous? Are they infamous? Do they have a massive following? And if they do, is it for good reason? So I think this is the first hurdle, the most important hurdle, and also very unfortunately the most common hurdle that convention organizers just trip up at. I kind of get why this happens though, sadly, because as much as conventions are about the family and the community and the friendships and everything, at the very end of the day, they are running a business and numbers do count. So when a potential cosplay guest gets pitched up the ladder to the people in charge, the number of likes become a really important factor, because they need to know that this talent that is getting hired will in fact bring in the foot traffic for the event. The downside to that though is social media numbers, especially in the cosplay community, is not a true indicator of skill and rapport. And so you can have a cosplayer with a ginormous platform and a ginormous following with, millions of likes, and they are either not right for your convention because they don't have the specific skill sets that you need for the content that you need for your program, or they are just a rubbish human being and you don't know. But it is the job of the convention to know before hiring somebody. Just like a workplace would do a background check on an employee before hiring them into their company, a convention should be doing the same. And for cosplay, it is super easy to check if somebody has a good reputation within the community, whether they're well liked, whether they have a good rapport with their peers. It is super easy. All you need to do is to go down the ladder, down to your cosplay coordinators, directors, and stage managers, people who interact on the front line with the cosplay community on a daily basis, and ask them, what do you think about this person we want to invite? And they can also use their friendship circle, their network, to chat to the rest of the community and say, hey, we're thinking about inviting this cosplayer. Is it a good idea? And it is just a matter of going down the ladder and asking a question. So I do realize it is easy to want to just trust the numbers on social media, and it is a lot of extra work to do a thorough check. But the reality is that a convention is a reflection of the community, and the featured talents that will become the image of the conventions should be a reflection of the community. So I don't think it is an unreasonable ask for convention higher-ups to be in touch with the community that makes up their customer base and do some extra research before hiring their featured cosplay guests. Number 2 is all about the skill set of this cosplayer in terms of cosplay. So what I mean by that is, are they a looks-based kind of cosplayer? Do they do lots of photos and videos? Or are they more of a craftsmanship cosplayer where their content mainly comes from the process of making the cosplay? Do they make their costumes versus buying their costumes? Do they sew? Do they do makeup? Do they make props? Do they make armor? Do they do none of the above and are just really good with people? Did they become viral because they look like a celebrity? And I say all of those categories that I mentioned with the full acknowledgement that each and every single type of cosplayer that I've mentioned and more have a perfect place in being a cosplay guest, as long as the roles that are assigned to them as a cosplay guest at that convention is suitable to the skill set that they've got. So for example, if you need a cosplay guest to judge a major competition at your convention, you would go for the craftsmanship cosplayer. If you want to bring foot traffic into your convention by having a very famous cosplayer for meet and greets, you would go for the big social media cosplayer. If you have a cosplay competition that you want more entrants for and you want to hype up the competition, you would probably get a craftsmanship cosplayer who is also very famous. And if you have a competition where boosting the entrant numbers isn't really a priority, you just want to make your competition more legit with a higher integrity level in the judging, you could go for a craftsmanship cosplayer who doesn't have a lot of likes, but their skills speak for themselves, and maybe even a industry professional. This number 2, a cosplayer's cosplay skill set, is another thing that is really easy to check. All you have to do is check out their social media, check out their pages, check out their content, see what type of content they create, see what kind of community they have on their own pages, and then decide whether that is appropriate for your event or not. Number 3 is a little bit more tricky. This is the skill set of the cosplayer in terms of being a convention guest. And what do I mean by that? This means, what can they offer to your convention that will make people come to your event? Do they do meet and greets? Are they a good panelist? Can they talk? Are they interesting enough to fill a room for people to ask questions for a Q&A? Do they have enough experience making cosplay to be able to judge a basic competition? Do they have enough experience competing themselves or judging other competitions that would make them a good fit to judge a higher level competition? A cosplayer's convention guest skill set is a little bit more ambiguous and harder to find out, but still, if you have the right channels of communication, you really should be able to do a little bit of research to make sure they are appropriate for your event. All you really need to do as a convention organizer is to talk to other convention organizers about the people that you want to invite to your convention. Just say, hey, we are thinking about inviting this person to our convention as a cosplay guest. What do you think? Have you guys worked with this cosplayer before? Are they good at panels? Are they good with people? Are they a good judge? Are they a hard judge, or are they an easy judge? Are they professional? Are they easy to work with? Do they treat our volunteers well? And once again, it is really important for the convention higher-ups to talk down the ladder all the way down to the frontline volunteers and coordinators who have to interact with the cosplay community as the main part of their job. As much as we like to believe the numbers, social media numbers for cosplayers is just such an inaccurate indicator of a cosplayer's skill set and rapport in the community. And if you just go for a virally famous cosplayer and try to fit them into the roles that you need for your conventions, theoretically you could get lucky and get somebody who can do everything, who's an all-rounder. But a lot of the time it is a gamble. And if you truly care about your convention as a serious business, you should truly care about the community that makes up your customer base, because the first and foremost fundamental key about making a successful convention is keeping in touch and cultivating a community. Last but not least, number 4 is to make sure you have the correct budget for the correct cosplay guest for the correct purpose. the number one question a convention organizer should ask themselves is, why are they having a cosplay guest? Why? There's two possible answers. Are you hiring a professional, or are you featuring a member of the community? These are two very different purposes that cannot exist in the same cosplay guest. If you're featuring a cosplay guest for the express purpose of bringing more people through the door, then you are hiring a professional and you should budget accordingly. If you're inviting a cosplayer as a guest with the intention of giving them a platform to grow, then you have to feature new and up-and-coming community members who aren't already big and professional. The number of times that a convention has approached me as a world champion, only for me to send them my appearance package, terms and conditions and fees and whatnot, and then for them to turn around and say they want to give me the opportunity to work for them to kickstart my career, is just ridiculous. And if you go down that we will pay you in exposure path with enough professionals, word will travel, because the geek community that the cosplay community is a part of consists of such a unique mixture of the full spectrum of the community, from the fans to the hobbyists to the industry professionals, and we all talk cross-sectionally. The fans talk to the hobbyists talk to the professionals, and the professionals talk to the fans. We all mingle, so word travels fast, and I promise you, your convention will get a reputation as one that doesn't respect our work enough to compensate us for our time and efforts. I think that's me for tonight. Thank you so much for watching this episode. This has been 4 things that a convention organizer should think about and research before hiring a cosplay guest to make sure you've got the right person for your event. Sorry if I got a little bit ranty. I am very tired and I care about you guys so much back in Australia. I'm settling really well here in Canada and I am thinking about you guys a lot, and I hope you guys have a great first convention back in Australia, and please stay safe and healthy. I will hope to come and visit back home in the near future. And with that said, thank you so much to my Twitch and Patreon supporters on my right, with special thanks to everybody on my left. I am too tired to read all of your names out loud today. I'm so sorry. I'm going to go to bed. Bye.